So today we're going to be talking about the second phase of Ascension. Hi, this is Michael William Denny of the ThunderWizard.com YouTube channel. So today we're going to be talking about the second phase of Ascension. Remember, there are 13 phases. We just finished the first phase, and now that we've entered into the second month of working on this, we're now in the second phase of Ascension. It's very timely because we just entered into 2017, and this the day that I'm filming this is New Year's Day. So New Year's Day is all about change. We're looking forward to the new year, to creating something new, to getting rid of the old, to improving upon ourselves, to making New Year's resolutions, right? But honestly, how many New Year's resolutions have you been able to follow through on? If you have, great. You absolutely should, but sometimes we don't follow through on the resolutions that we make. And so the question is, why? Why is it that when you want something so badly, you can't seem to make it happen? Well, this has to do with what we were talking about in the first phase. In the first phase of Ascension, we had to acknowledge the reality that we are in fact trapped by our own limitations. Now, those limitations are limitations that are continuously played out in the story that we tell ourselves about our history, what I call the narrative. The narrative that says, my name is so-and-so, I grew up in such and such town, my parents did this to me, I had this growing up with me, you know, all the things that we say that limit us as to who we are. Now, you can't just simply decide to let go of that most of the time. And the reason for that is because that narrative is actually a computer program that keeps playing in your unconscious mind. I'm touching my navel center because that's where your subconscious and your unconscious minds actually reside in your body. We replay those stories over and over again. That's because your unconscious mind is like a record player, and it's designed to do that, because if we didn't do that, we'd forget who we are and we couldn't function. So we have to have a story. It's like when you're playing a character in a play. You have to know who your character is, otherwise the play falls apart. But the great thing about being human is that we can change who our character is. We can decide who we want to be. But we can't do that until we know what the original character was that was written for us and how that's been playing itself out. So we have to acknowledge that we are, in fact, a slave to that. So then we have the ability to change. So we talked about that in the first phase of Ascension. If you haven't already, please go back and watch the Ascension videos and learn where it is that we're going with this. And now I'm going to bring in a concept that we've been using in some other videos called weirding. And weirding comes from the ancient Germanic word for destiny. We would call it destiny. If you were to type in weird, you would get the word destiny. In fact, the word weird is not what we think it is. It's not strange and spooky and unpredictable. That came from 1,000 years ago, when Christianity was coming in and the Catholic Church was trying to convert the heathen, polytheist, shamanic thinking tribal people of Northern Europe, who had this concept of weird, which they worshipped the power of weird. We weren't able to take this out of our language, out of our vocabulary, to the point where people every day use the word weird, even though they think they're using a different meaning for it. But the original meaning for weird meant to weave reality. And so our reality is created through this process of weirding, and we do it all the time, whether we realize it or not. So again, if you haven't, go back and watch the videos on weirding so that you can get a better understanding of what weirding is and do those exercises. So let's talk about it again now. We need to keep looking at this and understand that we have the power to literally create our reality. Not only that, we have the power to change and live in a different reality. We can switch tracks. And in fact, we're doing it every single moment. At every single moment of your existence, you are making choices. Those choices put you on a new track, which creates a new future. They're constantly splintering out. Science has determined that, at least in theoretical physics, that we live in infinite numbers of universes all the time. There are infinite numbers of universes available to us. And in fact, anything you can imagine, if you can possibly imagine it, it has to exist. Whether that is a reality where you are a homeless beggar or you are king of the world, there is a reality where that is taking place. That's where we get into what is it that we want to create. Now, what I am saying is that we should want to create the future that is going to bring us the greatest happiness. We want to fast forward. It's like all those infinite numbers of universes, or all the different choices that our soul makes, trying to figure out, what it is that's going to make us most happy. But we can choose to just decide that. We can decide, I want the future that's going to make me the happiest, whatever that is. And that's important. You have to have that attitude. You have to give up the idea of thinking that you know what your perfect future is. Because more than likely, when you have an expectation, you're going to be disappointed. And you're probably going to be wrong. I could throw out a bunch of names: Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, Brad Pitt, all of these people who you would think, because of their power, because of their fame, because of their money, you would think that they have the perfect life. And we've seen that a lot of them go through a lot of really miserable, horrible things. And we wouldn't want to go through that. So we can make the decision to have the most happy, the most fulfilling future, but it's probably going to be a little different, maybe a lot different than what you think it is. So in this second phase of ascension, what we're going to do is we're going to focus in on that power that is going to align us with our highest destiny. So again, let's talk about what weirding is, how weirding works. The word weird means to weave, literally that which has been woven. So there are 3 threads that, according to the ancient tribal people of Northern Europe, there were 3 threads that were woven together to create our 3-dimensional reality. And the first one was called origins. The second was called the ever unfolding present moment. The third was called debt. Now, debt sounds familiar because that sounds a lot like karma, because that's what karma means. Karma actually literally means the law of action and reaction. You get what you put out. That's really what karma is. But we still have this idea connected to it of debt, what you owe. But that's what the future is. The future is what you owe. So according to our ancestors, there is no such thing as past or future. There's only the present. The present is the only thing that exists. And it is the present that creates the past. And the past is what creates the future. So whenever you're looking towards your future, what you're really doing is you are reacting to the past and creating your future. Even when you're thinking, I want my life to be different, I want my life to be different, I want it to be like this. What you're really doing is you're responding to your past, which is creating your future. Now, your past is created in the present. So the present moment can change your past. This is why it's so important to let go of the old narrative, because every time you keep saying to yourself, I grew up this, and these people did this to me, and if only this had happened, I would be, and you create this narrative about who you are. Every time you do that, you're creating your future. Whenever you think of your past, you're creating your future. So we can change the past in the present. So our ancestors believed this, that every single moment we are constantly hopping from one reality to the next. Every moment. It's like a film strip that's coming in front of you, and you're stepping into a new frame and creating a reality. Every single moment. So if you keep repeating the same past, you keep creating the same kind of future over and over and over again. Does that make sense? So there are infinite numbers of universes available to you at any moment. And so you have to make the decision in the present to change that. And the way you do that is by first and foremost acknowledging that you don't have the power in and of yourself. Because if you did, you would have created a better future for yourself by now. So this means that you are trapped in the process of reliving the past and creating a new future. and means you're never living in the moment. So I'm going to give you a mantra, and this mantra will help you stay in the mindset that's necessary to create and walk into the perfect future that's already existing for you. And it goes like this: I release the past, I create the future, I live in the present. And you have to do it in that order, because the first thing you have to do is release your past. When you're not being influenced by the narrative of the past, you have the freedom to create the future. By doing that, you now have the peace and the freedom to live in the present. Once you are on the path that you want to be on, your highest destiny, then you're free to live in it. The only times that we don't live in the present is because we're not happy with the path that we're on, the path that we've created. So we're living either in the past or the future, trying to fix it. So we release the past, we create the future, we live in the present. So now back to the act of weirding. Weirding is the act of literally shifting into a new reality, and we do this every moment. So this is part of the conscious awareness. This is why it's so important to be able to have the power of choosing what you're doing at any moment. Every choice that you make creates a past, which creates a future. So if you make the choices in the present that are going to empower you the most, then you're going to create the future for you that you like. Now, the biggest and the easiest thing to remember is that having fun, and I mean it, this is the most important thing. If you're wondering, what is it I'm supposed to do in life? What you're supposed to do in life is have the most fun possible. And so when you live in a state of joy, then at that moment you are on your perfect destiny. And if you continue in that, you can create that. That doesn't mean you have to be giddy happy all the time. It just means that you live in the moment where you make the choices to do the things that bring you the greatest joy, that bring you the greatest excitement, the greatest hope, without expectation, just staying in the present moment. Okay, so having done all that talking, here's what we're going to do to empower ourselves to make all this happen. Remember, in the weirding exercises that we've been doing, what we've started to do is we are connecting to that perfect self. We're calling it a perfect self, because remember, there is a timeline that exists right now where you are living your greatest happiness, your most fulfilling happiness, and I'm calling that your perfect self, your perfect future self. And we have the ability to connect with our future perfect self. In fact, let me put it to you this way. Here's a question. What if all of the angels that have appeared to people over time, what if they weren't angels? What if they were you in an alternate timeline? And that you in an alternate perfect timeline is reaching back into the past to tell you what you need to do in order to be happy. What if that's all it is? Let's assume that, and let's work with that model for now. It's okay with me if there really are angels or they're not. I'm sure angels will understand and they won't take it personally if there are in fact angels that are guiding us. Because what all of creation wants us to do and to be is to follow our own higher awareness, our own higher self. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to make our higher self our teacher. And this is how we do it. So in the weirding exercises that we've been doing, what I do is I tell you to breathe deeply. We repeat the word weird 3 times, and then we open a door. And on the other side of that door, or sometimes I use, the emptiness. We're going to go into the emptiness. It doesn't matter. It's both the same. The door is good because then you don't have time to sit there and think about what it is. You're expecting something. You don't know what's on the other side of the door. So this is good. It keeps you in a state of non-expectation, meaning you're not creating, you're not manufacturing what you think it's supposed to be. So you say weird 3 times, and then we imagine opening a door, and the person that's on the other side of that door is our perfect self, our self that's in our perfect future that already exists. And we're going to ask that person what it is that they did to get there. What are the choices that they made? So in other words, there is a future where You have lived your life exactly up to as you have this moment, and then there's a future you who made the choice to get you onto the perfect, most fulfilling path. And you're going to ask that person who's just a few seconds ahead of you, or a few months ahead of you, whatever it is, to tell you, here's what you need to do to get where I am now. So what a lot of people would call your higher power. In this case, our higher power is going to be that future self of us who is living in that perfect future, that perfect timeline where we are the most happy, the most content we could possibly be. And again, we have to give ourselves the freedom to know that that could be anything. We may think we know what's going to make us happy, and we could be completely wrong. So we are going to let go of any expectations, and we might find out that, who knows, you're going to be a shoe salesman somewhere. I don't know, maybe that doesn't sound like a lot of fun, but that may hold the key to your future. Does that make sense? So here's what we're going to do now. We are simply going to make a connection to our higher future self in that perfect universe. And so you're going to ask your future self, your future perfect self, to guide you through all of this, to empower you, because this person has the power to do it, and you're going to gain their power. They're going to give it to you because it is you. It's not anybody else. You're not taking anybody else's power. They're going to give you your own power that you have to your highest potential. I now turn my best thinking over to you, and I am now asking for you, and I will listen to you, and I will follow your directions. So that is the contract, and that contract is going to help us get through the rest of the 13, the rest of the remaining 12 phases of Ascension. Okay? All right, so I've done enough talking now. Let's go ahead and do it. So first off, I just want you, now that we're in this new year, I want you to take a moment to let go of whatever happened. I've heard people say that this was the worst year on so many levels. It wasn't for me. For me, I mean, some really amazing things happened. Yeah, there's some weird stuff that happened in politics and all kinds of stuff like that. But in terms of me personally, this was probably the best year I've had in my life. So if this has been a bad year for you, I want you to be willing to let go of it. Let go of that narrative that you've been holding on to, that's been telling you, oh, my life ahead, you're going to let go of all that crap. Okay? And you're going to allow yourself to move into something better. So first, just take a moment to acknowledge that you're going to let go of all that stuff. You're going to let go of who you think you are, who you think you were, who you think you're going to be. You're going to let go of all the ideas of, what is good and what is bad and what is right and what is wrong. You're going to let go of all that. You're going to erase your past just for a moment. Remember, we release the past, we create the future, we live in the present. Whenever you're feeling upset or worried or stuck, say, I release the past, I create the future, I live in the present. Okay, now after you've done that, now we are going to talk to our higher self that lives in that perfect universe where we are the most happy, the most fulfilled. That universe, that timeline that is happening right now. It's not a fantasy that you're going to create. It's existing right now. And you have the choice to change tracks and merge and be that person. You have the choice to do that. And your future self is waiting for you. Your future self is more than happy to absorb all of the other selves that are in all the other universes, and be part of this one perfect universe. So you can make that your intention as well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to breathe deeply 3 times. Then I'm going to tell you to chant weird 3 times. And then at the end of the 3rd time, you're going to open the door and you're then going to see your perfect self. I'll walk you through it as we do it. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to just focus on me. Okay? Get yourself comfortable. Sit down and you're going to take 3 deep breaths with me. Ready? Inhale. Put your hands over your navel center. Exhale. I always get happy when I do this. Inhale. Exhale. Getting happier and happier and happier. Inhale. Can barely contain the excitement. Exhale. Okay, now I want you to imagine that at the end of a hallway is a doorway. And on the other end of that door is your future perfect self in that perfect environment, that perfect future, that perfect timeline, just waiting to help you. Okay, and now we're going to chant weird 3 times, and after the 3rd time, I'm going to walk you through it. We're going to open that door. Ready? Inhale. Weird. Once again, inhale. One more time, inhale. And open the door. See your perfect self on the other side. Enjoy basking in their glow and their presence. And now you're going to say this. You're going to say this to make this contract with your future self. You're going to say, I can't do it on my own. I need your help. I pledge to be your student and follow your directions. Now take a moment to be with your future self, and if there's anything that he or she has to say to you, or if there's any power that wants to happen, you can see yourself merging with your future self. Take as much time as you need. Now go ahead and allow yourself to come out of the doorway, let the doorway close. Take another deep breath. Come back into your body. Okay, so now you have made a contract with your future self. So now there is a pathway. You have a connection. You have asked for help, and now your future self now your future self has made a contract with you. Whenever you ask for your future self's help, your future self has to be there and has to come and help you and has to help you learn how to get through whatever you're going through and make decisions. Remember, your life is all about tiny little decisions made in the moment. Don't get overwhelmed. It's okay. But that's just the reality of it. So you want to get to the place where every moment you're making those decisions which are fearless, which are serving your highest good, which are not based on old ideas from the past, but based on your true essence. You can rewrite your past. We're going to do exercises later in the future where you are actually going to be that, where you are going to go back in the past and you are going to change the past. You're going to be the future self for your past. You're going to be the angel that goes and talks to your past self. When you do that, you change your past, which will change your future. If you like the channel, please go ahead and support the channel. If you don't see it above, scroll below. Subscribe, like, comment. Please go back and watch the video that I made about the new online shamanism courses that I am providing here on my Patreon page. And there are multiple levels there. The basic level is you get a 1-hour videotape lesson from me in Master Shamanism. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you from the very beginning. I'm going to start from scratch, and I'm going to build and walk you through a course in shamanism, Master Shamanism. So that's the basic level. There are other levels beyond that where people, if they want to work with me on a one-on-one basis, you know, there are different levels of subscription. Anyway, go check it out. Watch the video and go onto the page and check it out. That's it for now, my friends. Happy New Year. I wish you all of the best. I wish you nothing but power and self-empowerment and enjoyment. And that's it for now. So remember, you have the power to switch into that perfect reality. It just takes a choice in the moment right now. Talk to you soon.